Hi guys, it's Tara and welcome back to Crafting with Curly Cues. Today I am participating in day 3 of the Daily Markers 30-day coloring challenge. So this is pretty much an entire video of coloring. So hopefully you like that kind of thing. So I started by printing this adorable image from Gerda Steiner Designs twice onto some Simon Says Stamp 120-pound white cardstock. And I chose this cardstock so that I could make a 1-layer card using my Copics and it wouldn't bleed through to the back. This cardstock is so thick that you can scribble all over it with Copics and it's not going to create an issue on the back of your card. So let's talk for a second about how stinking adorable this images. This is from Gerda Steiner Designs. It's a digital image, so it just downloaded right on my computer. I could instantly use it. Thought it was awesome. So I am choosing to color this image with my Copics because it's pretty much a scene in and of itself, and plus I'm trying to participate every day. This is my first 30-day coloring challenge, and so the point is I wanted to color, so I wanted to not spend a whole lot of time on layout, but rather spend a lot of time with my Copics. So what I'm doing here today is I'm using my Copics in 2 different ways. So these cards are essentially the exact same card, and so I wanted to test something out. I have always colored with my Copics by applying a layer of the lightest color and then coming in with my darker colors and adding shading and pulling it out. But there are a couple of folks out there in craftland that I have noticed actually enjoy putting the darker shadows down first with their Copics and then working the lighter layers in from there. And I have honestly never tried that. So this is kind of me experimenting. As you can see on this card, I'm putting down the darker shadows and then coming in with my lighter colors. And then on the second card, I'm going to do it the way that I typically color, which is to put down the lightest color and then come in with my darker colors. So you'd think that's not like a huge difference, but it really does kind of make a difference when you're coloring with your Copics. And I was just curious to try it out and see which way I preferred. And I thought, well, what better time to try it out than during the 30-day coloring challenge when you're supposed to be coloring every darn day for 30 days, which is awesome. But eventually you're going to kind of get like, okay, I've done that. So I wanted to try some new techniques here. So as you can see here, I'm coming in with my lightest color and then I'm going to start going in with my darker colors. I'm using the exact same 3 colors that I used on the first puppy. And I'm doing my best to try and apply the shadows in the same spots. So the puppy's really my control image here because when I start coloring the banner and such, I'm using different colors, so it could be that the markers just react differently, but with the puppy, I'm literally using the same 3 colors on each one. So I actually found that personally, I think that I'm going to probably end up sticking with this way of putting down the light first and then coming in with the dark because it's easier to blend. What I noticed is that ultimately in the end, both images I think looked great. I think that I just had to try a little bit harder with putting down the dark first. I just had to work harder to get the blend that I wanted. And so, I don't know about you guys, but I'm all about work smarter, not harder, right? So if there's a way to do it where you don't have to work quite so hard to blend them, then why not? So you can see side by side, they both look awesome. It just took me a little bit more time to blend when I put the darker shades down first. And I think that's just because the way that Copics work is they saturate the paper, and then when you put the other color on top of the already saturated paper, it kind of starts to blend naturally. Well, if you're coming in like this with your dark color first, there's nothing for it to blend with. It's waiting. And so then when you do your lighter color, it's harder to pull that darker color out. Now with these pink shades on this banner, I had to do a lot of the tip to tip technique because my colors are too far apart in the pink spectrum. Honestly, these 2 are like nowhere near each other on my little Sandy Alnock Copic hex chart, but I tend to not pay attention to that, mostly to my detriment, and I do like the color that you get when you finally get these 2 to blend, but you just got to work a little bit with the tip to tip. So the tip to tip is pretty stellar because it kind of allows you to stretch your Copics and have more colors than you actually have. So by touching the tip of that lighter marker to the tip of the darker marker, I'm able to create like a medium shade and help blend these out better. So that's what I do. I don't own tons and tons of Copics. I wish that I did, but unfortunately my budget just won't allow it. So I try to stretch what I have to go as far as I can, and then I pick up 1 or 2 every, now and again when I'm able to. But the tip to tip I find works really awesome. So now I'm going to do this banner by saturating the whole thing with the lighter shade and then coming in with the darker shade. I don't know if you notice, you guys probably don't notice. I'm noticing because tend to be really critical of my own work, but I am like having a heck of a time staying inside the lines on this particular image. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know if it's because these lines are so awesomely dainty, or I have trouble with the Copic tips. Like, I love them 92% of the time, and then there's that other 8% of the time where I just cannot get them to go in the small areas. Like, they're just such big tips that I can't get it to stay neat. So you can see there's like some bleeding, and that's mostly my fault. It's not really bleeding. It's just me coloring outside the lines like a second grader. I don't know. So anyway, disregard that. This is going to be me being critical of my coloring since I'm coloring for 30 days. So anyway, let's talk about that 30-day challenge. If you guys haven't heard of it or are unfamiliar, this is something that Kathy Rakusin over at the Daily Marker started. This is the 4th 30-day coloring challenge. And it's basically just something to inspire you to take 5 minutes out of every day for an entire month and color something, get creative. It's not that you have to create entire cards every day. The first couple days I actually just colored like some cutout images. But it's just take just that little bit of time and stop and do something creative. And it's just a really fun thing. You can hashtag your pictures on Instagram, Facebook, etc. And all kinds of amazing crafty talent gets involved, and she does all kinds of giveaways, and it's just a really fun thing. And I've always admired from afar and never really gotten involved in the last few. And so I'm really excited to be kind of dedicating myself to really participating in this challenge. And I'm going to link to that in the description box below. So if you're interested in checking that out, make sure you click down there. I'm going to link to that. I'm going to link to Gerda Steiner Designs so you can get this super cute digital stamps and all kinds of good stuff down there. So as you can see, I have moved on to the grass, and this is the second card. So I'm putting down the light coat first and then coming in with the shading. I will tell you guys that this grass and sky is the first time I've ever attempted to do something even remotely that can even be remotely considered to be a background with Copic markers. I'm terrified of coloring large spaces with my Copics. I just don't feel like I have the skill set needed to do that. So this was kind of like way out, like my comfort zone is so far away, it looks like a little speck on the horizon. So the grass, I think, worked out great. I love the little shadow under the dog. I think that's adorable. The sky is kind of another story. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I did not, I had a heck of a time. So I'm coming in with the sky, and I'm starting with just some B01, and I'm using really light shades. I don't want like a crazy bright blue sky, and I'm wanting it to kind of fade off into nothing eventually. So I'm sticking to the pretty light shades. So then I'm coming in with this B000, and honestly, I should have just stuck with, like, right now, it looks pretty cool, right? Like, it's blending out into nothing, that's fine. Well, then I'm like, but I want some sky above the dog too, and I'm not going high enough. And so then when I started doing this kind of second layer is where it just kind of got wonky. I don't know. I felt like you could really see the brush strokes. Again, maybe I'm just being too critical of myself because I tend to do that. I shouldn't. It's not a good habit, but I do. But I just couldn't get this as smooth as I wanted it to be. And I kept coming back in, and then I brought in my colorless blender, and I'm kind of going over and over and over it. And I just really had to work. Like, I've got this video clearly sped up like so fast because this was a good 45 minutes of Copic coloring. And obviously I'm not going to make you guys watch all that. But you can see that I'm sitting here on this sky for a good chunk of time. Like, it took me a while to get it blended out to where I was satisfied with it. And then what I actually found with this particular space is that when I went in and I did my second card where I put down the lighter shade first and then came in with the shadows, I didn't feel like it made that big of a difference because I was coloring so much area. So I just kind of cut a chunk of that out so you guys didn't have to watch me do the same stuff. Like, it was the same. I'm just trying to get this blue to blend out. And then I came in with the wrong, like I came in with the dark one on the side, like, oops. But I think it's just patience, and it's definitely going to be practice. Like, I'm really just going to have to, if I want to eventually get to where I can do backgrounds, it's going to be a lot of practice. But eventually I liked how it came out. it took a lot of blending. I think the first one turned out better than the second one. Um, I don't know why. That's just what happened. But anyway, it was my first attempt. I think it's great for a first attempt, and I'm really proud of myself that I tried it. So I used that really cute Let's Celebrate sentiment from a Simon Says Stamp birthday bits stamp set. And then I'm coming in with my white gel pen, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to these images just to kind of spruce them up since it is this one layer card. So I put some little dots on the cheeks of the puppy, and then I added some detail to the banners, and then I went in and put some dots in the grass. I don't know what possessed me to do that, but I really like the way that it worked out. It just kind of puts some highlight down on the ground and pulls your eye to the whole image. So I thought that turned out super cute. And then when I'm all done with that, I'm going to come in with my black gel pen and make those little eyeballs on that little puppy pop. I will let you guys know that I have a toner printer, so just so you know, with these digital images, I'm always curious when people use digital images what their ink is so that it's not smearing with your Copics. I have a toner printer, so that's what these are printed on. So I add my Wink of Stella because I can't live without it, and then I'm just going to fold these over and get that crease really nice and tight because this cardstock is thick, let me tell you what. And then just to spruce it up, I decided to come in and add some 1/2 inch corner rounds on all 4 corners. And then these little cards are going to be done. So easy peasy, just lots of fun coloring, really letting the image and the Copic coloring shine. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I don't usually do that much coloring, but I just, in honor of the coloring challenge, I wanted to do that for you today. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. For a full list of supplies, you can visit my blog. If you liked what you saw, please hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys. Check out the description box. There's going to be all kinds of good links for that 30-day coloring challenge, Gerda Steiner Designs, and I'll link to some other videos there. You can always join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Bye.